We are back in your inbox like it is a Monday. Welcome into another Chamber Report week ahead preview. I'm David Jackson, President and CEO of the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. Hope your Monday has got your week off to a good start. Thanks for clicking on the link once again. We've got a lot going on in the community, something just about every day. So we want to make sure that we take a little extra time and make sure you're aware of all of those things. Want to welcome our App State students and faculty and staff back to campus. I know a lot of folks milling around the campus community, a lot more traffic out there than what we've seen in the last several months for sure. So welcome back. I hope you stay safe and healthy. Practice those 3 W's while you're in and around our community. We've got a lot on the line here to try to keep our community as safe and healthy as possible, and all of us can play our part in that. So again, practice those 3 W's. Wear your mask, wash your hands, wait 6 feet from others, and hopefully we can get through this transitional time relatively unscathed. All right, so mentioned a lot going on this week. Let's start with some information that we received from Watauga County Schools earlier today for all of you parents out there. If you hadn't had the chance to drive by your school yet, make sure you do. As of 6 o'clock today, class lists are up at all of the elementary schools as well as Watauga High School. That can give you the opportunity to see who your child's teachers are and begin to start that back to school process. We'll be there virtually at this time next week. So again, those Watauga County Schools class lists up as of 6 o'clock today. Now, tomorrow we are hosting our Forward to Fall virtual forum with the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. That will go on from 11 to 12:30. We'll be taking a realistic look at the transition into fall and winter here. Also, kind of getting an update on tourism operations and expectations for the next several months, getting some information on education and how that will be implemented throughout the state of North Carolina as it relates to this going back to school, getting kids back in the classrooms eventually, but the virtual learning that will start next week here locally in Watauga County and many counties throughout our region. We'll have some folks from the Department of Public Instruction talking about that process and what we expect to see with that moving forward for our entire region. And then short-term and long-term goals and expectations, again, on our economic rebound and taking it a little different direction this time and thinking about people that are relocating to this area, getting out of the urban areas or more dense areas of our state and have expressed a desire about relocating to an area like the high country. Are we set up for that from an infrastructure standpoint? Can we handle needs short-term, long-term, and can we see this growth without mortgaging the identity that we've all come to know and love? So we're going to have that conversation tomorrow as part of this as well. Forward to Fall is the name of this webinar. Again, it's from 11 to 12:30. You can register for this online at boonechamber.com, just like you do every other virtual event or any other in-person event that maybe we'll get to have again one day. You can do it all the same right there on the website. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 11. Now, Wednesday, another very important community forum coming up, this one being hosted by the Children's Council of Watauga County. And this particular program has to do with starting your own child care program inside your home. The Children's Council folks are kind of the clearinghouse for child care here in Watauga County, and they understand the need that exists out there with, again, an altered setup to what we usually see here in the fall and really operationally overall in our county. So they want to lead a discussion about how people may be able to take an entrepreneurial spirit, start a child care option in their own home, or perhaps take care of neighborhood needs. You know, we've talked about employers being as flexible as possible with your employees that are having to navigate childcare in a world with virtual school and decreasing childcare options at centers. We need to be creative. So this is a conversation that will help spark some of that creativity. So the Children's Council hosting this forum Wednesday from 12 to 1:30. You can go to thechildrenscouncil.org, click on the Caring for Children link up at the top of the page, and that'll get you to the registration information. There will be a session to follow on Friday also regarding some of the state licensing procedures that you'll need to follow if this is indeed something that you want to start in your own home. So again, check out thechildrenscouncil.org for more information on this. And again, with people getting back to school, getting back to work, this is a very important conversation to have. Thursday, I told you we had a lot going on here. here. Thursday, we've got a blood drive that the Boone Area Chamber is sponsoring along with our friends at the Blood Connection. This will be held at Boone Mall from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. They are encouraging you to register ahead of time so they can practically and promptly social distance all of the folks that are going to be attending this event. Thebloodconnection.org to register. Go to the search by zip codes, type in the 28607. You'll find this event. You can get registered for it. Of course, the need for blood continues, not only in our area of the state, but in others across the state. The Blood Connection is fantastic about helping local blood banks and hospitals realize the resources that they need. So very important that you get out there. And again, I went to this one back in June, hosted by the Blood Connection. Again, they do a great job of making sure that you're safe in coming in and socially distanced appropriately while you're giving the donation. These are medical professionals and they've got this all figured out. So again, this should be a safe way for you to donate and give the gift of life and help others that are in need at this time. So again, that's Thursday from 10 to 3 at Boone Mall. Check them out, the Blood Connection, with that blood drive coming up here in the High Country. And again, thebloodconnection.org to register for that. Final event that I want to tell you about is coming up Saturday. You know, we've talked about since the onset of all of this, and we started the Shop Local Saturday. So third Saturday of every month, we encourage folks to shop local. Again, be extra intentional with those local purchase decisions, knowing that they are impacting families right here in the High Country. Well, we told you back months ago that we were going to start theming these, and we've got one of those first themes coming up this weekend. So homemade in the High Country is what we're theming this. And what we're encouraging you to do is to go out and visit some of our local artisans and those that make things either handcrafted right here in the High Country, or they are using local goods to make these pieces of art or products or whatever you happen to find. So what we're hoping that you'll do is when you make one of those purchases, say you're at the Watauga County's Farmers Market, or you head out to Rivercross Made in the USA out in Valley Crucis, and you get something from a local High Country artist or something that was handmade or homemade right here in North Carolina, that you hashtag that purchase, take a picture, hashtag it on your social media, keep Boone healthy, and then let us know where you got that from so we can then work the hashtag magic, and we'll be sharing those on our social media to help get a little bit more notoriety and recognition for those businesses and for those local artists. As you can imagine, the art community has been hit so hard during this time. A lot of the festivals and things that we know to be so special and unique to our area haven't been able to go on in the full fervor that they normally have been. So any opportunity that we get to support local artists, we certainly encourage you to do that. And again, any local purchases like that are going right to somebody local in our community, and that just keeps the economic engine moving. So again, that's Shop Local Saturday, this coming Saturday, third Saturday of every month. And we are encouraging you again to find those things that are handmade or homemade right here in the High Country. And hopefully we can fill up our social media channels with some great images and some great links to some artists that could maybe make the next big thing for you or your friends down the road. All right, one final thing to mention to you. We got the Keep Boone Healthy podcast dropped on Friday afternoon. Our good friend Joe Furman from the Watauga County Economic Development Commission spending some time with us as we talk about the rebuilding and really rebounding of our local economy as we try to make heads or tails of whether we've hit the ground floor on this recession and these COVID economics that we're dealing with. And when we do, we wanted to be clear in this conversation that there are already some discussions that are going on throughout our community about ways that we can hopefully successfully rebound. And that means making sure that people are talking behind the scenes to find those sectors of our community that may be helpful into getting our economy moving in the right direction as we're able to infuse more people in a safe and responsible way. Again, we may not be fully there yet, and we understand that we're still under some restrictions in the Safer at Home order from Governor Roy Cooper, but it's also a good time, as we have seen the value in thinking strategically has never been more realized and more important. So we wanted to let you know of some ways that the Watauga County Economic Development Commission and some businesses here are really beginning to think about what that next step is when it's time to take that next step. So Joe will update us on some of those things, as well as talk about some bigger picture things too, like what has COVID taught us about the need for broadband deployment in rural North Carolina? And more importantly, what role can we play here in the High Country in forwarding that conversation along? Because as we'll see next week with the return to to school. With so many of us working from home right now, the need for high quality, high speed internet, broadband services has never been more important. But what are we doing as a local region to help drive that communication throughout the state that says it's time to think about broadband as a utility and really make sure that the deployment of this is as vast as it possibly can be, utilizing public partners, private partners, a mix of those relationships to make sure that we get the service that we need for all of the people that need it out there. So those are just some of the conversations we'll get into on this week's Keep Boone Healthy podcast. We invite you to go to your podcast resource of choice and subscribe to the Keep Boone Healthy podcast. That way it gets delivered to you every week. You don't even have to think about clicking on anything. You just go and it's there. And we'll have another episode for you on Friday. So subscribe today. You can get next week's right on time, and you can hear some good information coming up here in the Keep Boone Healthy podcast. Some really out of the box type stuff. We talk about co-working space coming to Boone is one of the topics we get into. So a lot to cover there. All right. So that should be enough. If you got your pen, it's probably out of ink now because of all of the things that we've got going on this week. Again, we hope for a safe and responsible return for our App State students in Caldwell and Lees McRae. We know that folks are going to be getting back to it from a learning perspective. We can, just take the mental capacity that we've got right now and do everything we possibly can to do this in a safe and responsible way. And understand too that I think as Doug Gillen said in our Mind Your Business interview with him last week, he said, everything that I say is subject to change. And that's the current reality of things, right? So I think it's important for us to be mindful of that. We are working off the best information as a community that we have today. We need to understand too that as we see large influxes of our capacity for residents here, we see changing trends throughout the state. We see changing trends throughout our daily lives. We just need to maintain flexibility and patience. Those are the things that will allow us to get through this time and be respectful of one another. Understand that people have different opinions, but we are all trying to get to that same point, and that is a return to some sort of normalcy about our lives. Even though that normal may not look like normal used to, we want to make sure that we get to a point where we can function as best we possibly can. And by all of us communicating with one another and coordinating with one another, I really do think that we can get there. So in the meantime, if there's anything that we can do for you from the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce perspective, we are happy to be able to do so and connect you with any resources that you can. Some important topics coming up next week involving PPP forgiveness that we'll be passing along to you throughout this week. So make sure you stay up to date on your chamber report emails, and we'll pass along any pertinent information that we get straight on to you. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'm sure it hasn't rained here yet, so it's a lovely day out there. Get outside and exercise a little bit. Do what you can do to keep Boone healthy, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks a lot.